Good day, students. You're welcome back to class. Today we're going to be taking pre-vocational studies. Pre-vocational studies. This is the second period for week 2. So we're going to be taking the agricultural science part of it. As usual, I encourage you to take out your textbook, your notebook, and your writing materials. If you've done that, remember that for week 1, we had our revision exercise. We have to do revision for week 1. So open your textbook to page 6 to 7. That is where you're going to be doing your revision for your last term work, JSs2 work. So ensure that you do that revision right in your textbook because it will be submitted by the time school fully resumes. Alright, let's go back to the topic that we have for today. The topic we have for today is problems of farm manager. Problems of farm manager. So open your textbooks to page 8. Open your textbook to page 8. What is a farm? We all know what a farm is. When we hear the word farm, it does not just refer to rearing of crops, all right? It also refers to rearing of animals. So we can see that a farm is an area of land used for growing crops and rearing of animals. Now, who is a farm manager? Who is a farm manager? A farm manager is just a person who is responsible for the management of the day-to-day activities in the farm together with its maintenance. So that means that the job of a manager, the farm manager, is to ensure that the activities each day on the farm run smoothly. And the farm manager also ensures that the farm is well maintained. So a farm manager can also be called an agricultural manager. Now let's look at the functions of a farm manager. You already have them in your notes and also in your textbook, so we're going to pick out a few of them and talk about it. So the farm manager is responsible for buying and selling of farm products. Every product used on the farm. Buying of the seedlings, buying of the farm tools and farm equipment, buying of fertilizers, pesticides, and so on and so forth is the job of a farm manager. Also the selling of farm products. Then the second important function is making policy decisions. Making of decisions is very important. Sketching out plans to run the farm efficiently, recruiting and training and supervising staff or farm workers is also the duty of a farm manager. The farm manager also keeps records of farm tools, crops, and livestock. The farm manager also sets out production targets, plans for the farm. This is how I want the farm to be, and or say this is the required output for the year. Then the farm manager ensures that the farm meets up to those requirements. So that's just the functions of the farm manager. Farm manager also inspires the staff to work harder, to work efficiently. Now let's look at the problems that the farm manager faces. There are there are 4 major problems that the farm manager faces. It's still there on our textbook. The first problem is how much to produce. The output of the farm is determined by the total number of inputs used. So a farm manager is always faced with the problem of how much seed to plant, how much fertilizer to use, how much feed to give to the livestock, how much livestock to buy, and so on and so forth. Because you know that the inputs rates will determine the outputs or the profits of the farm. So it is what you put into the farm that will determine how much will be produced. So the farm manager has to efficiently think about these things. So this is one of the problems that are faced by a farm manager. The second problem is how to produce. How to produce. You will find that on page 10. How to produce. The farm manager must select the appropriate and necessary farm inputs for the production of farm produce. For example, crops that can be produced with heavy machinery and small labor are different from crops that can be produced with smaller machinery and more labor. So a farm manager must select the appropriate and necessary farm inputs necessary for the farm products. Now the third problem is what to produce. This is the problem that involves the selection of or combination of crops or livestock to produce. So the job of the farm manager to know or to choose what crops to produce and what livestock to produce. Then when to produce, you know that every crop has seasons. Even livestock has seasons when they are more productive. So it's left for the farm manager to figure out when to produce. So those are the 4 problems of a farm manager. Now let's look at the measures of solving farm problems, things that we can do to solve farm problems that a farm manager can do. The first one is loan, taking loans and grants from the government. Secondly is usage of natural and traditional resources. Thirdly is cultivating drought-resistant crops. Then the fourth one is forming agricultural groups, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at the types of farm structures and their uses. There are different types of farm structures. Number 1, we have barn. Go to page still under page 10. Barn. You can see the picture of the barn there. It is a temporary structure for the storage of yam, cassava, hay, or grass. Then silos. Silos is a rectangular or circular structure made of concrete. It is used to store grains, mostly grains such as maize, cowpea, millets, etc. Go to page 9. You can see a picture of silos there. Then rhombus. We have rhombus. There are also storage farms to store grains like maize or millet. You can see a picture of rhombus structure. We also have cribs. There's also a picture there, and cribs are used to store grains as well. So looking at the 5th one, which is canals. Canals are artificial waterway which is constructed to transport water for irrigation. You can see an irrigation canal there. That's why I ask you to use your textbook. So as we are going through, as I'm teaching, you can be referred to your textbook. You can make use of the textbook. Looking at these pictures can make you understand what we're talking about. Fences is another type of farm structure. The picture of fences is found on page 11. Farm fence. It is used to protect livestock, crops, and other farm properties from thieves or dangerous animals. It is also used to confine animals like cattle, sheep, goats, etc. Now we have dams. A dam is a structure made with concrete, stones, or mud across a river, stream, or lake, and it is used to hold water for irrigation purposes and also for animal consumption. A picture of a dam is found on page 11. Then the last structure we have here, we have compost pits. A compost pit is a pit that is dug in the farm to store or to produce manure for the planted crops. Animal and plant waste are deposited inside these pits so that when they decay, it can turn to manure. So that's the picture of a compost pit. There you can see the hole dug on the floor, on the ground. You can see the hole dug on the ground. That's how a compost pit is formed. Now, family buildings. Family buildings